3, 2, 1. What's up, guys? This is the BoardGameRoamer, and as you can see, it has finally arrived. At long last, Too Many Bones Undertow, Tyranny, The Age of Tyranny, and 40 Days in Daelore have made it to my humble abode. Chip Theory Games, of course, is a publisher. You've seen Too Many Bones on this channel several times. I am super excited about this. Now, I've already taken the shrink off this, and I will tell you that I've already actually used this. Had a gaming weekend, but I did want to go back and show you what's in it. The only other box that you don't see here is Gasket, who is the add-on character. He's actually already in this box, so I'll at least show you his mat. But I have not done any kind of combination and put the original Too Many Bones stuff with this. I'm going to keep them separate for now. I think that's cool, unless I need a character, fourth character for Undertow, which we actually played this weekend with. So, and I'm going to do all these in the same video. So we're going to start, I think, with Undertow proper, and then we'll open up 40 Days, and then take a quick look at Tyranny. Alright, so let's start with Undertow. And let me tell you, this box is ridiculous. Weight-wise, this box is absolutely ridiculous. So let's take a quick look on the inside. So of course, you have your rule book, same layout, all right, as the original Too Many Bones. There are some differences though, so you definitely want to check this and read this out. It tells you how to do the actual campaign mode, how that works, how defeating the tyrants work. You do a little, that setup is a little bit different. The way that you start in the original, you remember you had the same 3 starting days. In Undertow, you have 2 starting days, but there's 3 cards or 4 that you randomly choose from for each of the first 2 days to start out with. So it gives the first couple days a little bit of a difference. Kind of a similar thing where you're getting training points and loot and such. But there are some differences, so you definitely need to check this out. Definitely need to check this out. And then of course you have your mats, right? Our normal mats that you'd come to expect for Stanza and for Duster. Now I've got Gasket in here. Like I said, I went ahead and just added him to this. So here's his mat, front and back. Definitely read these closely. Gasket, I feel like it's pretty straightforward. Stanza is a little bit, you need to read through these, especially these sections on Stanza. This up here is super important, and song effect usage, very important. And read all that, because there is a lot to do with these. I would say Stanza, Duster, not so much Gasket, but at least Stanza and Duster, I feel like, compared to the original Too Many Bones, I would call them kind of like medium difficulty is where they stand. If I had to rank them kind of from easy, medium, hard to play from the original Too Many Bones, I would say all 3 of these are medium characters, although I would say probably Stanza is getting up there. Duster, the difficulty to play in co-op, it shows is low, but the way the pet leveling up and stuff works, I really feel like that's kind of not true. I think it's a little bit more difficult than let on, but super fun to play. All right, and again, we played with all 3 of these, and then somebody played with as Tink, so it was pretty cool. And then of course you've got your adventure guide, how to do the training points and counter cards. Because remember, this set is not just an expansion for Too Many Bones. It's actually a standalone Too Many Bones, kind of like an intro set, and then you could go and get the bigger set, the original Too Many Bones. It does have Assault. It does have Assault. It's got the new encounter terms, and there's some really interesting ones here, like equipment. It's pretty neat. Flee, treasure. Some really, really neat stuff going on here. That dice iconography, gear lock turns, baddie turns, how that works. Which I really like this, because prior to this, you know, when you read through this book, they talk about all these phases, but there was never really anything that showed you phase-wise what was there. Like, you'd have to go in here and look to see what the phases were. There wasn't anything that just kind of showed you the progression in a detailed manner, and this does a good job of that. So I really think this was a good addition to it. And then, of course, there's some new iconography with the mechs that you'll find up here. So definitely give that a check out. Okay, so what do we got in the box? Well, we basically have 2 chip trays, which are these right here. You've got your loot and encounter deck, and then you've got your trays for your status dice, your initiative dice, lockpicking dice, and of course your gear lock dice. Now, something interesting that came up, we'll talk about that in a minute, but something interesting that came up, and I kind of thought this originally, but I thought, well, maybe it's really not, you know, maybe I'm not paying attention. Maybe it's just, I don't know, maybe something I missed. But these chips, I feel like these chips are not as heavy as the original. And the other day I actually saw somebody mentioned a thread. There's a thread on BGG where people are talking about that they don't feel like these chips are the same weight as the original premium health chips. And I think there was enough people that Chip Theory is actually going to check that out and see, because that does not, to me, that does not feel like 11.5 grams. That does not feel like the same weight as the original Extra Life, right? The premium health chips. So we'll see where that goes. Then you've got this insert. Now, like I said, I already opened this up and I've already sorted these things. So this is new, an encounter cover card. So if you want to cover the tops, you can do that. Then of course you have all your tyrants. Boom, boom, boom. Tyrant. And their encounter cards. Then you got your Trove Loot. The Trove Loot deck, about the same thickness as the original, maybe a card or two short. And then of course your regular loot. Some familiar things like Fortunate Discoveries, but most of the other stuff in here, Hearing Sensor, Huckleberries, Power Cell, Net, this I think, McCall Bash Pipe, 2 uses. This was taped to the box on the inside, so I think this was either a promo or I guess what they put in for it being towards the end of the line. Tar, not my favorite, probably non-essential oils is probably my favorite at this point. There's just a whole lot of new stuff that's different in it, which I think is pretty cool. Now, having said that, you could definitely combine all the original stuff and Undertow. There's absolutely no reason why you can't do that. And probably at some point in time I'll do that, just because after I've played Undertow several times, I'll feel like, you know, I've seen a lot of the content and then I'll just add it together. But there's no reason that you have to do that. There's nothing that says you have to do that. And probably the other thing is, what I'd like about having this separate is that now if I've got somebody that wants to play Too Many Bones, I can start this game with them or the original Too Many Bones and then have another group playing the Undertow, right, and experiencing those characters. So now I can actually have, if I keep everything separate, I can actually have two totally separate games going on with Too Many Bones, which I like. And then of course we have on this side, in this other box, I've got the epilogues, which I think has to do with the campaign. Some campaign cards, which I don't know what I don't know how those work. I have not done anything with that. Then we've got the special encounters, several special encounters. One of the things that I think is pretty cool too is, let's see, let me find it. Shoot, where's that? Hold on. Oh, here we go. The Ebonite Doorway. This should look familiar. This was in the original Too Many Bones. However, this, I think, this text may be a little bit different, but I will tell you, and I'm not going to show you, but I will tell you on the back, what's on the back here, reward-wise, is a little bit different. So I like that. I think that's pretty neat. So of course you have a number of solo cards, which I believe there are 12 solo cards in this. You have your day counter card, and then you have quite a number of regular general encounter cards. And like I said, eventually these can be combined if you wanted to do that. You know, it's your game, you can combine them if you want. I have not done that. And of course, the 40 days in Daelore and Tyranny are going to add additional encounters to this if you want to implement those. So let's put these back up. Alright. Bing, bang, boom. The only thing that I'm not sure about is these boxes, because these boxes are different than what they had in the component update pack for the original Too Many Bones, but they still, this crease here, I feel like over time is going to end up breaking off, and then you can have the same problem that I had with the other one. Although I will say this, I really hope, and I know that you can get some tray holders as it is. Let me just set these off to the side for now. Bigger ones, but I really hope that they offer these as individual purchases through the website at some point in time, because these are very good. They're small, like you could set them out, especially for the health, right? You could set one on one side of the table, one on the other. You could use them for kind of the trays they've got now, but the problem with the trays they have now is that they don't have a lid on the top, so they're great to play with, but you can't store anything permanently with them. At least with these, they're in the box, the chips are not going to fly around, and then when you're done you can put it in the box and you're good to go. Alright, so we've got our chips. Let me scoot this up, show you right quick. Things that are different. So here's the, of course, here's the chips. There's Gasket's chip, Stanza's chip, and of course Duster. The way it works now with Duster is you have Duster's chip, and then you have the Allies chip, which I think is awesome. And I have it in the other box, so I'm not going to pull it out, but I did get the Ally pack, so now all three of the spider bots and then all three companions for Gilly, so Tink and Gilly now have an equivalent chip like this for their allies that they can bring out onto the board, so that's pretty cool. Then of course you have the terrain chips. So this is on the forest side, things are blocked, and then you have wreckage for the raft if you have a raft encounter and the raft gets damaged. So that's great. And of course you have your standard, right, baddies. And with the Undertow, there's not a symbol on here, but you can look at the ring around this. See how that ring is blue? That will tell you that it's from Undertow and not from the original Too Many Bones. There are not as many baddies as the original Too Many Bones. Obviously there's only 3 factions instead of, I feel like the other one had maybe 5. But it is a smaller game. I mean, it's meant to be smaller and have a smaller footprint. This is another chip, another special terrain type chip. I think maybe that has to do with the baddie. But it's something special. And then of course we have our standard lane markers, right? The 4 lanes and day counter, which is normal, nothing special there. Right there like that. Alright. And then of course the game originally came with the standard chips, and I got the upgraded health chips, no regret health chips. And so there you go. Like I said, I really like these, but I don't know if they're gonna have them. Maybe eventually. I know several people have said something to them. Of course you have all your dice, right? Oops. For your gear locks. That's stanzas. That looks orange in the shot, but they're really more pink. These are stanzas are this teal color, and then dusters are these over here. Then what I've done over here is, just for me, you've got your initiative die for your lanes. Then you got your tyrant die. There's five tyrants. Well, I guess I should do that. 5 tyrants in Undertow. I've went ahead and this is gaskets. He's the brown. His are in there, and then you got this special. And this die, I think, this is the coolest die. I don't know if you can really get a feel for it. You can kind of see it. See how that's like clear, looks like water. It's really neat. You'll use that for several things. Your round marker, some more status dice, or some of the status dice, and then so there's some of the status dice. Then I've got the rest of the status dice here, and then of course your standard attack and defense, and then trip lock die, and your map counter tracker if you want to use the adventure map. And last but not least, the mats, right? So in Undertow, in this new edition, all of the mats, and they'll be like this from this point on, have this edge stitching instead of just a regular neoprene. So of course there's gaskets mat, and then you got stanzas mat and dusters mat, and then you've got the battle mat, and it's a little bit different, okay, because now in the previous version, in original Too Many Bones, you just had this 4x4 square. Now you've got these side locations, and there's mechs, and there's what they call crown, and your encounter cards. Not every encounter card, but some of them, depending on whether it's on the raft side, which is this side, or the forest side, which is this side, and again it has those same positions. they'll start out over here and then move around. And on this side, the crown, the aquatic kind of, I guess, race you would say, is they start over here, but they can start damaging your raft. And so if your raft in the battle, if you have those crown, if they do 4 damage to your raft, which basically they start their turn, and if they can't attack a gear lock, then they'll attempt to attack the raft. And if you have 4 sections damaged, you lose regardless of anything else. And there's one card at least I know of for repairing that in the loot. And I think I remembered on one of the videos that Chip Theory released, at least early on, they were talking about damage to the raft and how it persisted. I don't think that's the case anymore. I mean, as far as what I can tell in the rules, that does not happen anymore. So, alright, that is the core box. So I'm going to put this up and then we'll take a quick look at the other 2 boxes. So give me just 1 second. Okay, so 40 Days in Daelore. These are additional encounters. This is not anything standalone. You have to have either Undertow that we just looked at or the original Too Many Bones to use this. We'll look at the back right quick. Basically, it adds 23 group, 12 more solo, so the solo game seriously got amped up here. And some additional unique baddies to add into the mix for what you're playing with. So this kind of extends out, and you can see again if you look in the back here, they've got like a gray circle ring around them, but they're all part of the different factions. So there's like and it looks like an orc faction, there's a troll faction, different factions. Of course, you know, standard gear lock count, age, etc., etc. So let's take a quick look at it. Now these boxes are kind of deceptive because what you're going to find when you open this, there's a whole lot of space. Okay, so at some point in time, I will probably combine like the Tyranny box and this box together just to save storage space. So what you get, here's all the chips, and it's pretty cool because this is like a plastic chip container. And honestly, I would be cool with just having this kind of chip container and having each individual faction be stored in something like this, right? I think that would be pretty awesome. And then you could even do your health in containers like this too, and just hand everybody a container or something. But the lid just screws off, real simple. And then inside of it are all of the baddies. There's some 20s, several 20s, several 5s, some 1s. Alright. I'm not going to show you the actual chips, let you find those out for yourself. Oh no, hold on. Set that to the side. Then we have our encounter cards and a nice little tuck box. It's got a little room in it, so if you did combine stuff, you have plenty of room. And then of course here are some additional cards, Drellin. If you play with 40 days, Mulmesh, Nom. So I guess these are, I don't know if these are alternate cards or what, but at any rate, this is what you got. So regular encounter cards, general cards, and then the solo cards, and then one special encounter, something's brewing, and then your additional tyrant cards. And then the bottom, all that for the sheet. This will tell you, well, we'll start here. So basically this is like the master list of all of the skills, because like flight, bleed, break, dive, engulf, rage, rating, those are things from the original. And then there's some things that are unique to Undertow, like for example, equipment is unique to Undertow, dodge is unique to Undertow, disruption, detonate. So this is like the ultimate sheet for all of those skills. It shows you what is included in, okay? And it'll show you the encounter card stuff, the baddie chips, and just a really, really nice one-stop shop, right, for all that. So that's what 40 Days of Daelore is. So now let's take a look at the Age of Tyranny. So let me put this back up, and then we'll be back for the Age of Tyranny. Alright, and the final box in our trio Age of Tyranny. This is a campaign add-on, so this extends the campaign option that we got in Undertow. Super exciting. We'll look at the back. What is it? Got 25 boon scar cards. Boons and scars now are things that are going to give you, help you, and then they're going to be things, the scars are going to be things like I've seen, and again, I haven't really looked extensively through this, but, it may take away, block a skill on your mat, or something like that. Then there's 21 day 1 to 3 encounters, so you've got a whole lot more encounters for the first 3 days, with a bit of variety, which is awesome. 10 campaign cards. Now we saw some of those in Undertow, so I think that these are kind of like an add-on to that. 7 epilogue cards, PVC card box. We'll look at that. Scar tokens. That's to block out different things here, and even on your character sheet. Scar dice are in here. We'll see those. Snapshot mat. That's what this mat is. So you can basically put all your stuff in here for your tyrants and that you completed and all this other stuff, and it's going to show you. You can take a picture of it and kind of keep track of it that way. And then of course a reference sheet. So let's take a quick look at this. And I do want to attempt a campaign playthrough at some point, but so again, our handy dandy storage case. It's got a different symbol on the top, which I think is cool. And we've got our dice. So I guess I'm assuming at some point that you're gonna roll these, and depending on what you roll, it's going to make you subtract something from a stat, maybe, or something like that. I don't know, but that's the dice. And then you have these scar tokens, and these, I believe, they're the size of dice, so they're going to fit in your player mat, they're going to fit in the mat that's down here that we're fixing to look at. Then we have our cards. Oh, dang it. I forgot about that. So here's this. The Scar and Boon cards. So they're things like oh, that's pretty cool. So it's going to say Scar Boon, and it's going to have like a story, like this scar. Let me find a quick one. This scar, for example, says your weapon is now 2 shorter weapons. Not good. So that's the flavor text. And then on the back, you can no longer train in your attack stat. Place a scar token next to this stat to represent this. So that's something negative. So you can't increase your attack. Then you may go down here and you can get a boon. Those are scars. Then you get a boon. Again, let me find a shroud. Well, just so you know, all these, yeah, this are the scars. So that's the negatives. That's the boons. So you want to do the best you can. So you pull from this stack and not that stack. And the boons are like Augur Lecture, move up to 2 scars, gain 2 loot, some training points, loot, get rid of scars. Basically, these boons help you get rid, I think, of the scars mostly. So that's those. Then you've got these. Oh, so I think these cards are. This is an epilogue for the original Too Many Bones, Duster, Nom, Marrow, Gendrix, Drellin, Molmesh, Goblin King, and then it's got the symbols on the front. So I'm assuming if you get their die, this tells you what their die faces do for you. So you can get the King's Bomb Kit, Molmesh's Hide, Drellin's Poison, Gendrix's Staff, Molmesh's Axe, the Thunder Club, and Duster's Dagger. So those Tyrant dice, you're actually able to get a hold of those and use those, apparently. Then we've got several campaign cards, and again, I can't tell you what exactly these do, but they do something. The Age of Tyranny, Fleeing, and these are all different. The names are all different, so there's definitely, and it looks like the back, just doing a quick look, yeah, so this number of scars, what you carry over, what tyrant you fight next. Sometimes it's random, sometimes you get to choose where you start at. Okay, so I guess you play through, complete a tyrant, and then you get to carry over some of your stuff, and you get to carry over some of your training points, and then you kind of like start over with, yeah, okay. I guess that's how that works. Again, I have not played, so I can't speak to that entirely. And then we have a bajillion, like, these are all special encounters. It looks like some of these are dexterity games, some of these are just regular combat. So, and again, that's got its own symbol up here in the top, in the corner, so you're going to know that it's part of 40 days. Alright. And our apparently requisite super thick foam. This is the mat. So, this is what I was saying. I think defeated tyrants over here. I'm assuming over here is where you put your gear lock, and then you can track, I guess, dice and skill. I don't know exactly how this works, but you can basically, the idea is you're supposed to be able to lay this out as you're playing, and as you defeat tyrants, and as you take scars and such, be able to place that here, and that becomes a reminder of where you're at. So you should be able to put everything here, take a snapshot, and then when you get done with the campaign, for each at the end of each tyrant attack, and take a snapshot of this, and then be able to come back and set up everything for it, with the exception of your gear lock. You probably need to take a picture of your gear lock sheet. So that's that. And finally, we have our Tyranny reference guide. So this tells you how to set up the this will tell you how to set up the campaign mode. Tells you how the card works, what you do, campaign rules, shuffle the cards, the day cards and counter cards, draw and read the top campaign card. The back feature reveals how to set up your tyrant for this adventure, and then it tells you what all these cards are. So this is going to walk you through that, and then this is going to tell you so this is the scar dice. That's what that is. So got it. So I think for like example, let's say that you couldn't train let's see here. Man, I thought I had an epiphany for like 1 second. Oh, so I guess maybe, battle fatigue training. Fatigue. So you roll this. That's what you do. You roll, maybe at the end of the if you have to roll a scar die, you roll this die, and it may say -1 attack, -1 defense, right? So you would start putting those, and you can't really see it from up there because it's black on the back, but you would start maybe filling these in. I don't know. Training fatigue. So there's a 50-50 chance that you'll, okay, interesting mechanic. We'll definitely take a closer look at that when we play. But that is Age of Tyranny. Alright, so if you want to have a campaign, that's the way to do it. And that, I believe, yeah, that's everything. I know that's a lot of unboxing in one video, but I figured it would just be easier to do it all at the same time. So definitely look for this on the channel. We'll be doing that soon. Yeah, check it out. If you don't have too many bones, definitely go check it out, get a hold of it, because it is worth it. If you guys seen it on the channel, you know that. If you haven't seen it, you definitely need to go back and watch some of those original Too Many Bones videos I had. And like I said, we'll definitely get in on some Undertow very, very soon. Having said that, I am the BoardGameRoamer, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for commenting. I really appreciate it, the feedback I get from you guys, and I hope that you are enjoying the content that I put out. So thank you again for being part of my community, and being you know, a part of the gaming community. Play more games, play with people, get everybody interested, and use it as a chance to make friends, and to just make somebody's life a little bit better. So I will see you in the next video. Bye, guys.